All right, Dodgers fans, buckle up because this one's huge. After losing to the Los Angeles Dodgers in the World Series, the Toronto Blue Jays could now be facing another devastating blow, and this time, it's not on the field. Reports around the league are saying that Bo Bichette, one of Toronto's biggest stars, might be on his way to Los Angeles. Yeah, you heard that right. Multiple insiders are predicting that Bichette will leave Toronto to sign with the Dodgers, and the buzz is growing louder by the day. What's making this even more believable is how much the Dodgers loved his performance at second base during the World Series. Word is, they're even considering moving him from shortstop to second or third base to strengthen his defense, keeping Mookie Betts at shortstop full-time. And here's where it gets really interesting. The Dodgers are about to free up over $87 million in payroll, which lines up perfectly with Bichette's asking price. A 7-year, $182 million deal. The timing, the fit, and the need, it's all starting to make too much sense. But before we dive into what this could mean for the Dodgers' future, make sure to hit that subscribe button and drop a like to help us reach 11,000 subscribers. This is the home for real Dodgers fans who want the inside scoop before anyone else. Alright, let's get into it and check out what Jeff Passan and Jim Bowden had to say about Bo Bichette's free agency and how serious the Dodgers' interest really is.
22 years old, Rich. He set the single season record in Nippon professional baseball for home runs hit by a Japanese-born player, breaking a record that Sadaharu Oh had owned since 1964. Murakami has enormous power, the kind of power that dynasties have been built upon. And yet he's got a glaring flaw in that he swings and misses a lot.
Oh,
and
perfect
he strikes
Yankee.
out a lot.
That's a perfect Yankee. I mean, honestly, like Cashman's probably going all the way over there to personally, bring him over on the Steinbrenner jet. That sounds like a perfect Yankee, Jeff. Perfect.
It's really interesting to me, Rich. I'm curious to see how this offseason players who have extreme bat-to-ball skills are valued by the industry, considering that the Toronto Blue Jays made the World Series in large part because of their ability to put the bat on the ball.
You bet.
And as a baseball fan, as someone who my whole life I have just adored this game, man, I loved watching the Blue Jays play. What a fun team to watch, not just because of the bat to ball, but because they were able to combine that with superior slug as well. It shows the two are not mutually exclusive. If you're hitting the ball, you don't have to hit it soft. You can have your cake and eat it too. And on top of that, the defense that the Blue Jays played, they were just a really fundamentally sound team. And Bo Bichette's return, I think, did him a great service going into free agency this offseason, knowing that he is not at 100% by any means. His knee was messed up. He was out for 7 weeks, and he came back and essentially looked like he hadn't lost a step, playing a position that he hadn't played since when he was in the minor leagues. I mean, it was just a phenomenal performance by him. And his free agency, among Tucker and Framber Valdez and Dylan Cease and Pete Alonso, there are a lot of big names, Alex Bregman. It's going to be a really interesting winter in terms of free agents and seeing where they land. And Bo Bichette, to me, is near the top of the list of those interesting players because our team's going to want him as a shortstop, where he was below average defensively last season. Are they going to move him to second or third base? What does a guy like him, who's, his value is best tied to his ability to hit for average, right? Mm-hmm. And batting average is just not something, generally speaking, that's valued at a high level in Major League Baseball. And yet Bichette's also got slug. He doesn't strike out. There's more to it than batting average, but that's one of those components. It's going to be nice to see it get paid this offseason because I think batting average does still matter.
Of course it does. I'm with you. They were a fun team to watch. You're right, the Blue Jays. So in the few minutes I have left with you here, as we're off and running on the hot stove, the 4-letter word in many front offices, Boris. How is he looming, and his clients looming, whether they're free agents or not, Jeff, over the next few weeks?
Well, I think it's going to be the next few months because Rich, you're used to normal free agency where everything happens in the NFL at one time.
Yes.
Like I was getting tweets yesterday like announce a signing. I was like, you guys don't understand how baseball works, do you? Like it's going to be a little while until we get the big signings. But Scott Boras, as in every year, has a pretty impressive roster. Alex Bregman, Pete Alonso, a Japanese pitcher named Tatsuya Emai, who you should keep an eye on because Emai is really interesting to me in that he looks like a Yoshinobu Yamamoto starter kit. They are the same size at 5'11", and yet they both throw gas, topping out at 99 or so. Emai's breaking stuff is very good. He doesn't throw a splitter quite as much as Yamamoto doesn't rely on that, but he has been healthy. He has put up phenomenal numbers in NPB, and he's going to be another guy who's going to be $100+ million pitcher. And it's going to be really interesting to me to see what the market for Japanese players, from Murakami to Amai, Kazuma Okamoto, like there's some real guys who could be coming over this winter, and the market for them is going to be super interesting to me because, all the consternation about the Dodgers and the dynasty that they've built, there are organizations out there and owners especially who just want to chip away at what the Dodgers have. And the Dodgers' advantage in Japan right now is enormous to the point where we're joking all of them are going to go and sign with the Dodgers at this point. Right. And yet that there are owners right now going to their general managers and saying, we need someone from Japan on this team right now, if only so we can get into this marketplace for down the road when players, more players come over that were in consideration. And sometimes geographical elements factor in heavily. A lot of guys want to stay on the West Coast because of the much shorter flight back home to Japan. Other guys want to go to New York because New York's New York. And it's, you can't argue with that. And yet I think we're going to see some surprising teams this winter in on Japanese players, just trying to get a foothold in that place that has produced as much talent as it has over the last half decade, especially.
BP and Otani.
Best closers in the game. So those are the best 5 that are out there, Amanda, and all of them should do well in free agency.
Let's go to best hitters available. And look, I have your list in front of me. These names are absolutely massive, including a guy who probably just made himself bukus of money in the World Series in Bo Bichette. Walk us through your top hitters that are available once free agency hits.
Yeah, let's start with Bichette because he's the youngest of the top 5 guys. I love this kid so much. I love his makeup. He really wants to return to Toronto. I think he's really going to get paid because he's only 27 years old. I won't be surprised if he gets 7 years, $189 million. He fits in so many places because even though he's a shortstop, he can play second, he can play third. Probably second or third is his best position going forward, I would think. But there's going to be a lot of interest. Look, he led the American League in hits twice already, and he's only 27. The Detroit Tigers, great fit for him. The Yankees could put him at third base. The Phillies could put him at third base. The Dodgers could put him at third base. The Red Sox could put him at third base. He could go back to Toronto as a second baseman. So a lot of options for him.
All right, guys, after hearing those reports from ESPN and CBS Sports, it's starting to sound more and more like Bo Bichette to the Dodgers isn't just a rumor. It's a real possibility. But now, let's take a look at another trusted voice when it comes to trade rumors and player movement. Jim Riley from the channel Ballcap Sports just dropped his own breakdown, and he actually graded this potential move, ranking how good of a fit Bichette would be in Los Angeles. And trust me, his take might surprise a few people. But before we jump into what he said, make sure to hit that subscribe button and drop a like to help us reach 11,000 subscribers. Every bit of support helps us keep bringing you the biggest and most exciting Dodgers stories out there. Alright, let's roll it. Here's what Jim Riley from Ballcap Sports had to say about the Dodgers' chances of landing Bo Bichette.
Team. I don't see them spending the money. I don't see them locking in another long-term contract to get this deal done. Look, to get him away from the Blue Jays, you're going to have to give him a ridiculously overpaid type of contract on AAV and years. And now Padres, they did that with Bogarts to pull him over. I don't see them doing that again. Can't see it. The money they need to spend this offseason needs to be focused on pitching. Dodgers are next. Do we put the Dodgers towards the top here? We think about their situation. You could argue the infield is set with Edman at second, and Rojas will play second, and Mookie is at short, and Muncy is at third, with prospects coming up that need to take Muncy's spot in a year. Freeman is at first. We're looking at outfielders. We're looking at Kyle Tucker. Do we put the Dodgers towards the bottom here? Are the Dodgers in F tier? I don't think so. Are the Dodgers an S tier? They could certainly afford to pay him, and they could move the pieces around. When you think about the Dodgers, Bo Bichette could be your second baseman. Tommy Edman could move into the outfield. Again, there's some dominoes that have to fall to make this work, but you could certainly do it. From a money perspective, from a winning perspective, from a fit element, I think the Dodgers are a threat here, and I'm going to put them in at the A tier, joining the Atlanta Braves. Next up are the Seattle Mariners. And as far as the Mariners go, this one is kind of interesting.
Okay, guys, now it's my turn to talk about Bichette. First off, the money part. Spotrac and Newsweek project Bichette's market value between 182ers and $186 million over 7 or 8 years. That's a massive deal. But here's the thing. The Dodgers can easily afford it right now. They've cleared over $87 million in payroll space this offseason, mostly from expiring deals, depth arms, and veteran contracts. So when you see people saying, oh, that's too much for LA, no, it's not. This front office planned for this. They have the money, and they're being surgical about how to use it. Think about it. The Dodgers could lock up a 27-year-old all-star who just hit .311 with 94 RBIs and 18 homers in 139 games, and still have flexibility for pitching or bullpen depth later on. That's exactly how Friedman operates. Big move early, smart reinforcements after. Now, let's talk about fit, because this is where it gets exciting. Everyone knows Bo Bichette's been a shortstop his whole career, but after watching him play during the World Series, the Dodgers reportedly loved what they saw when he shifted over to second base. And that's the key here, because if LA signs him, Bichette could play either second or third base, depending on what Dave Roberts wants to do with the lineup. That allows Mookie Betts to stay at shortstop, where he's looked increasingly comfortable, while giving the team options with Max Muncy, who's entering his age 35 season and needs more rest days. Bichette could take the load off Muncy defensively, slide over to third when needed, or anchor second base full time. And when Muncy's healthy, you can rotate him in at second while Bichette covers third. That's elite level versatility paired with elite contact skills. Exactly what the Dodgers infield needs. Bichette's offensive profile is honestly underrated by casual fans. He's a career .299 hitter with a knack for producing in clutch moments. His strikeout rate dropped to 16% last season, one of the lowest among qualified shortstops, and his hard hit rate was top 10 in the American League. The dude just knows how to put the barrel on the ball. And if you watched him during the postseason, you saw the fire. He played through pain, through a knee issue, when he could have easily sat out. That's the kind of competitor the Dodgers love. Add him to a lineup with Betts, Freeman, Ohtani, and Smith, and you've got something ridiculous. Plus, he's entering his prime years. He'll be 28 when next season starts, not 32 or 33 like a lot of free agents hitting the market. You're not paying for what he was. You're paying for what he's about to become. The Dodgers don't just sign talent, they build eras. Think about it. Ohtani changed everything last year. Yamamoto followed. Mookie moved to shortstop and handled it better than most expected. And now, Bo Bichette could be the next big addition, giving this roster another all-star bat while keeping the infield fresh and flexible. Toronto fans might not want to admit it, but this feels like the end of an era for them. The Blue Jays spent years trying to win with that core. Bichette, Guerrero Jr., Springer, and they got close, but LA finally slammed the door shut in the World Series. And for Bo, that loss might have made things crystal clear. If you want to win consistently, you go to the Dodgers. What makes this even more believable is how Friedman's been setting the tone early. Clearing $87 million wasn't random. That's room for one big bat and one rotation move. And when you see how Roberts used Bichette during that World Series, how comfortable he looked in that second base role, it's hard not to think the Dodgers were quietly evaluating him the entire time. They've already got connections through mutual agents and long-term scouting of Toronto's roster. It's all aligning. And look, as a fan, I love this move. We've seen what happens when the Dodgers mix versatility with star power. It's how they won 100 games even with injuries all year long. Bichette brings contact, consistency, and leadership. He fits LA's stars who grind identity perfectly. He's not flashy like Ohtani. He's a warrior, a hitter who grinds out every at-bat, a player who bleeds for the game. That's Dodger baseball. So here's my take. The Blue Jays can try to keep him, the Tigers can throw their hat in, but the Dodgers are the favorites to pay the price, fit the roster, and give Bichette the one thing he wants most, a championship. The money's there, the fit is perfect, the window is open. If there was ever a time for Bo Bichette to wear Dodger blue, this is it. But what do you guys think? Would you rather see Bichette at second base or third? And how do you think that affects Mookie and Muncy going forward? Drop your thoughts below. I want to hear from the Dodger family on this one. And hey, if you love this kind of deep dive Dodgers coverage, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and help us reach 11,000 subscribers. We're building the biggest, most passionate Dodgers community on YouTube, and we're just getting started. Go Dodgers, and get ready, because if Bo Bichette really comes to LA, 2026 is going to be another Hollywood blockbuster season.